Hey everyone. You know, even though well, basically I worked last night, and the only way I kind of caught what was going on with Raw was through, of course, Ringside News and their incoming results, if you kind of catch my drift. Well, I watched some of the highlights on WWE's YouTube page, and one of the things that a lot of people were talking about last night, besides the tournament itself, was the fact that a lot of people feel WWE probably went a little too far last night. You see, as much as we all praise the WWE for at least letting the Divas finally close out the show with some kind of segment, which ever since this whole Divas revolution has come to fruition, people have been wanting to see. It seems that no matter what happened last night, or no matter what was going to happen last night, well, basically, it seems that, I guess to them, no matter what happens last night, or no matter what happened last night, at least it's a step in the right direction. Well, apparently, last night's main event segment with Charlotte and Paige, yes, allowed the Divas to close out the show and show in a way that they can main event, even though some people were kind of critical about Charlotte's role in the segment. The way she basically to a lot of fans, they felt that Charlotte looked very uncomfortable. In other words, this position that she was in is a position that she was not ready for, and yet here she was. And now you got some people saying that the reason Vince okayed it is because he wants the Revolution to fail. He doesn't want the Divas to be on equal terms, stuff like that. You got people pretty much saying that. Well, even though despite that, some fans actually praised the segment because they were trying, in a sense, the overall goal for the segment was to put as much importance on the Divas Championship as they are with the WWE Championship. Think about it this way. That contract signing for the Divas title, think about it, was probably originally meant for Seth and Roman. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Seth and Roman were scheduled to face each other at Survivor Series for the WWE World title. So that contract signing that happened last night to close out the show, probably, and I won't be surprised if they mention this at several websites, was probably originally intended for Roman and Seth. But because Seth got injured and had to be stripped of the title, they had to fulfill that contract signing angle with some kind of contract, with some kind of championship, and next best thing was Charlotte and Paige. Because think about it. Think about it. It's too ironic, in my opinion. That you have a contract signing the Monday before Survivor Series, and the ones that you're having close out the show, the ones that you're building up, the two that you are building up to throughout the night with all these vignettes and flashbacks and everything, to build anticipation, not just for the contract signing, but for the championship match itself on Sunday, are Charlotte and Paige. And like I said, even though this was a golden opportunity to prove that the Divas can hang, in the main event scene somehow, one has to think about the fact that this was originally, as I mentioned, intended for Roman and Seth. They probably already had it all planned out to have a contract signing for the WWE World Championship and Survivor Series take place the Monday before between Seth and Roman. And when Seth got injured, they had to alter their plans. And obviously, Triple H, Stephanie, they saw a golden opportunity. They said, you know what? We're in South Carolina, basically Flair country. Let's test the girls. Let's trot out Charlotte. Let's trot out Paige. Let's have them close out the show with their contract signing. Let's show that these divas are as important. Let's take this opportunity that was given to us unexpectedly, if you will. Let's take this opportunity and run with it. And that's what they did. That's what they did. Because again, one has to think about it. You know, out of all the Diva Championship matches we have had, despite who's been champion, when was the last time you remembered a Diva's contract signing main eventing the show? Or closing it out? Not for a long time. Not for a very long time. If at all. And on top of that, like I said, you know, when do you remember that happening? Not much, not really, if at all. So one has to think and put two and two together. Obviously, they saw a golden opportunity to test the girls out, and yes, like I said, they were in Flair country, so they decided, let's do this. Let's give them the same treatment that we were going to give Roman and Seth. Because think about it. All those vignettes that they had throughout the day, those were probably planned originally to build up the Roman-Seth title match originally scheduled for Survivor Series. But yet, because Seth got injured and they had already planned to do a contract signing, they probably saw, or they did see, an opportunity with the Divas, with Charlotte and Paige. They said, hey, there is history there. Let's go with that. And that's what they did. That is exactly what they did. Now, the biggest question people have is, did they go too far with it? Again, you're using this as an opportunity to establish the girls as being at the same competitive level as the superstars, as the men. You're using this opportunity to showcase that just like in NXT, these women can main event. These women can be on the same equal basis as the men. You're trying to show that. You're trying to prove that. So, what do? You give them that opportunity. You take this unexpected opportunity that was given to you, that you originally planned to give to Roman and Seth, and you give it to Charlotte and Paige to see what they can do. And obviously, despite how Charlotte was doing that, you can't blame her. She's on a bigger stage than NXT. You know, she is basically in her first major main event there on the bigger stage, on the main roster. So you can't blame her. She's a little nervous. And, you know, again, it was to kind of showcase the women on equal basis. That's why I look at it. And again, but overall, I also look at it as a fact that this was a golden opportunity that was unexpectedly given to them, because originally I think this was planned for Seth and Roman. That's my opinion on it. Now again, did they go a little too far with the mentioning of Reed Flair? Now they didn't mention him by name, but everybody knew exactly who Charlotte was talking about. Did they go a little too far with it? Well, apparently Ric Flair's ex-wife, the mother of Charlotte and Reed, didn't like what they did. Numerous fans didn't like what they did. Some fans are split down the middle because it's like, yes, this is what we wanted you to do with the freaking Divas Revolution in the first place. And yes, this is what we're talking about, but trying to get a little bit more of that edginess back, a little bit of that more edginess, ruthless aggression era style back. This is what we wanted. But yet, when you get something like that, some people are hypocritical. Now, again, did they go a little too far? Yes. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. It all depends on how you look at it. It all depends. You know, could they have gone another route? Absolutely. But you see, part of this segment was to position Paige as the top diva, the top heel in the Divas division, if not one of the top heels in the company. Why? Because here's someone that you're trying to build up, trying to rebuild, if you will, as a true anti-diva, as a true controversial figure. Someone that basically is like, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what they want me to do. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to say what I want, and that's all that matters. You know, and that was basically part of what the segment was to do, was to help rekindle that fire that made her the anti-diva, because by having her say what she did about Reed at the end, you know, that was to really light that fire for a true controversial top heel, top diva heel, if not top heel in the company, by allowing her to do that kind of stuff, allow her to get that heat and everything. You know, we may not agree with, not a lot of people may agree with it. Heck, I'm kind of basically around that segment, like, yeah, you know, you could have done something a little bit more different to get her heat, but, you know, they had to do what they had to do. And a lot of people have pointed this out. A lot of people have pointed this out, that Ric Flair and Charlotte, they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have mentioned Reed in this promo to help get Paige more heat come Sunday if they didn't sign off on it. Now, could other members of the Flair family be pissed off about it and angry about it? Absolutely. You know, if they don't like what they saw, sure, they should be angry. Heck, if I'm the Flair if I'm any members of those families, even the ex-wife, the legit mother of Charlotte and Reed and David, if I'm the mother of those kids, I would call WWE out on this. You know, I would call them up. I would call them out. I'm not trying to put any ideas out there. I'd probably go out and sue them for doing something like this. But, you know, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion on what I think. If I was in their position, in that family's position, who didn't like what they saw, that's what I would do. That's my honest opinion. Because yes, I understand people using the death of somebody to, you know, get heat on them. A lot of people point out that Randy Orton did it back in the Ruthless Aggression era against, you know, in the final year or two of the Ruthless Aggression era with Rey Mysterio. He used the thing with Eddie. Same with Batista. But here was the thing. True, Eddie's was probably a little fresh at the time, a little fresher at the time. It was a little fresher at the time. But still, I don't think they would have done it without signing off with the Guerreros. I don't think they would have done it if Chavo and Vicky didn't say okay, which I think they did. Because it was supposed to get Randy heat. Same thing with Batista. You know, people may not like that wrestling companies like WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor will do this kind of stuff, but it's to get the heel, the villain of that feud, of that story arc, legit heat. Some legit heat to where when the moment they walk out, the moment the music hits, you're not mixed reaction about them, you're not cheering them, you're booing them right out of the building. That's what those kind of things are meant to do. And if that was meant to do it, and if what WWE did last night was meant to get Paige that kind of heat, we'll have to see come Sunday, because if it did, job well done. But if she goes into the Phillips Arena in Atlanta and she gets cheered and Charlotte gets booed, then job not well done. But we'll just have to wait and see. And again, you know, did they go too far? maybe they did, because when you think about it, Reed was just starting out in the business. Let's face it, he was just starting out with the goal of maybe going to WWE. He was just starting out. You know, that's the whole thing. He was just starting out in the business. So, and he was very young when he passed. You know, he was a lot younger than Eddie. Eddie, and he was very young. It's like he was just getting his foot in the door. So, again, did they go too far? Maybe they did. But again, fans wanted WWE to get edgy again. They gave him a bit of that edgy, ruthless aggressiveness last night. But when one thinks about it, when you look back on it, honestly, did they go too far? Maybe they did. But, but when you think about it, but when you think about it overall, it all depends on how you view it. If you think they went too far, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. Maybe they should dial it back. I'm not denying that. But when one thinks about it, this was a golden opportunity that they saw for to kind of showcase that the Divas could be on that same level. Because like I said at the beginning, originally, I believe that main event contract signing segment was meant for Seth and Roman. Think about that. So, that's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know down below what you think. Honestly, I think they did go a little too far. They should have done something more. They should have gotten Paige heat another way. But still, I do agree that maybe they went a little too far. But, like I said, they saw an opportunity to showcase the Divas. It was an unexpected opportunity that they got. And, again, when one thinks about it, I believe, honestly, in my opinion, this was originally meant for Roman and Seth. So, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. And I am out. I got to get ready for work.